where did you take your, when did you find out you were going to be a tail gunner on a B-17?
When I went to Moses Lake, Washington, I was assigned to a crew. I was an armament, first armor, and I could either have, I had my pick of being either a tail gunner or a ball turret gunner, and I chose the tail.
Oh, okay. How did they actually train you for that? On the airplane, or did they have some kind of a?
Well, we trained on the operation of a 50 caliber machine gun at Denver, and then we had when we were in Walla Walla, Washington, we flew air to ground gunnery. We would be flying in a 17 and over a target area, and then we would shoot at ground targets. And from there, we did a lot of formation flying.
They have those target drones you shot at that time?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. When you first got, what country were you? Did you say you were in when you were over there?
I was in England.
England. Okay. I remember my dad used to talk about what his first days of experience was over there all the time. Of course, he was in the Philippines. What kind of thoughts did you have when your first day over there about your chances of making it through it, and did you have a lot of that?
Well, at the time I went over, started in flying in November of 1943, and tail gunners were expendable, they said, because they lost a lot of tail gunners because the attacking aircraft would fly a pursuit curve and they would come in from the rear. But later on, the German Air Force started attacking from 12 o'clock high, and they would come in from the high above you and come in at the nose, and they would shoot and then barrel roll and dive away from you at a very high rate of speed.
How far could you turn? You couldn't turn it 360 degrees in a tail gun, right?
No, it was about almost maybe 30 degrees either way, and up and down about 30 degrees.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, you had two waist gunners. You had a radio man. He shot out of the radio room. You had a top turret gunner. He was in the
bombardier actually had guns too, right?
He had two guns, and there was two out, one out each side for the navigators, according to which side.
They were kind of staggered off to the side so you couldn't hit each other.
Yes.
Yeah. I heard that what was it, that they have a turret gun on the bottom?
Yes, a ball turret.
That couldn't fire within it could rotate all the way around, but it couldn't fire at a certain angle because it would hit the props.
Right.
Yeah. That was interesting. What's the worst mission you can remember?
Bremen.
Yeah.
That's a seaport in Germany, and they had 44 batteries of 88 millimeter cannon for ground fire, and in each battery there's 4 guns, so it's 4 times 88. And they protected anything in Germany. The German Air Force would come up in force, and they really would bring the attack home because they wanted to protect Germany they just didn't care.
Yeah.
Germany had come first, and those were some of the worst missions. And then Schweinfurt, the ball bearing plant, was a tough mission.
Do you have any situations where you got shot up pretty bad as far as the airplane?
Yes, over Bremen, we lost 2 engines, and once you lose engines, you can't keep up with the group, and they don't wait for you. So our instructions were to hit the deck, and we did. And we were flying at about 1,500, 2,000 feet off the ground, and trying to not go into the ground. And they would nurse the old plane, and we had fighters after us, but they couldn't come up from underneath or dive at us from above because we were too close to the ground, and they would crash before they could. They had to come in straight and level, so we did have a good chance. And we went out over the Zuider Z, and we unloaded threw all the ammunition and guns out the window to lighten the load, and we landed on a field that was set up for planes that couldn't make it back to their base, and we just made a landing there, and then we called. They got in touch with our base, and they sent mechanics and everything down to get the plane back in order, and then they flew it home. Then they flew it back to our base at Kimbolton, England.
Tell me about that time that you think you shot down one of the German planes.
We were flying a mission on the coast of France after the V-2 rocket emplacements, and we were flying at about 12,000 feet, but they had complete cloud cover, and we couldn't see the target, so we kept flying back and forth up and down the coast waiting for I guess the weather people had told them that those clouds would clear out. And while we were floating along on top of the cloud, the Wolf 190 popped up out of the clouds, and he was right at plane level, and he fired, and he hit me in the tail and knocked me off of the seat, and I was wounded in the arm, but I got back up on the seat, and he made another pass, and of course I was back up and waiting on him, and I did get a lot of rounds out at him, and he broke off, and he went off at a angle, and smoke was coming out, and I never knew whether I hit him or whether he was just throttling back, but he did have a lot more smoke out than I'd seen out of other planes. So
you didn't see him coming back, right?
Uh-huh.
He didn't come back up.
No.
I'll be. Did your were you there long enough to start seeing the escort planes go all the way to Germany?
Yes, in the spring of 1944, like March and April and May, the P-51 started escorting us all the way to the target. Now what they did, they would take off from England, and as soon as we hit the coast, there would be fighter escort, and when their Tokyo tanks were empty, they would break off and go back, but another group would fly straight to where we were and take up the protection of the American planes. But a lot of times there was a lot more German planes in the air than we could get up there, and, because of the distance and the intervals between when they took off and when they could get to us.
Were you escorted by P-51s or something else?
Oh, during my mission, I'd seen P-38s over the target. I'd seen P-47, the Thunderbolt, and I'd seen some English aircraft, but they didn't go very far. The Spitfire could take you to the coast and bid you goodbye.
Didn't they have a B-17 that was just all guns at one time just for protection, or did you see anything like that?
No.
Oh, okay.
We just had the regular. There was 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 50 caliber guns on each B-17, and you had 27 planes in a group, and they were in 3 squadrons. He had a high squadron, a low squadron, and a lead squadron. And the way they were stacked up and down and sideways, you could get a good field of fire out at them, and you to make it real unhealthy for them coming in from the rear. So that's the reason they changed their method of attack.
I heard that you come back across the channel, right?
Right.
That the tail gunners used to start. They would leave the position in the rear of the airplane about halfway across the channel, and the Germans found out about that and then started shooting planes down because the tail gunner was.
Well, I never left the tail turret until we were well inside of England.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because one time in December of 1943, we you know, it gets dark very early in that part of the world, and we were coming home from a long mission, and we had fighters follow us up into to our field where we were landing, and they were shooting at us going in on the landing pattern at the time. But
wow.
That didn't happen very often.
All the way inside England, huh?
Yeah. They had night fighters after us, but that was soon stopped because they just put up our night fighters, and if they were close, why they'd be after them.
Did you ever have to bail out of one of those things?
No.
Getting shot down?
No, the plane never crashed that I was in. We had it damaged and lost engines quite a few times, but I never had to bail out.
What's the most damage that your plane received?
Well, probably when we lost several, more than once, we lost 2 engines, and they may be the 2 inside or 2 outside or 1 of each. And but if you only lost 1 engine, the pilots could usually keep up okay. But if you lost the second engine, then you could not keep up with the group, and you just had to hit the deck and fly on your own.
Oh, okay. Any other experiences that you've had that you can remember?
No, that's about it. Every time you flew a mission, you had fighters after you, and ground fire, and whenever you bombed inside of Germany, they always had heavy fire from the ground.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that I appreciate everything you did over there, and most people don't realize that now, but if you guys hadn't have done what you did, and all the people like you, we wouldn't be here today, I don't think.
Oh, well, I was 19, 20,
Yeah.
and you know, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, we all got very incensed with the war, and were ready to go. We all volunteered to go. Most of us did, and it was our duty. And I would do it again if I was 19 and the war broke out.
Well, the world would be a very different place if it hadn't been for you and all the others like you. And my dad fought in the Philippines, you know, too, because I'm pretty sure that Germany and Japan wanted us all dead.
Absolutely.
You know, so
they wanted to.
Of course, now we're buying their cars, but
Yeah.
I guess that's not making any difference. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you for what you did.
Well, you're certainly welcome. And I'm just so glad I had that. I was healthy and young and ready to go, and was